Well, good evening, everybody. This is Tom, and welcome to our 2 cents. I'm Tom Sellers with tsellers.com and 24/7 Credit Funding. And we just, as we were getting this ready to go, found an unusual echo. I don't understand why or where. And I really was excited to get to show you guys this new commercial I did. But I got nothing but echo. So that is going to drive me nuts, and I am sure it's going to drive you nuts as well. So we are going to do this without any special effects tonight, people, and I will figure this out for next week. Uh, we have got a great show for you tonight. If you are part of the working from home class, which most of you who are part of this audience are, you are in for a special treat this evening. I have somebody who I know pretty well, I've met with a few times, belongs to a couple of marketing groups that I do. Um, and if you are somebody, and let's face it, if you've been at home these last 3 months like the rest of us, it's possible. I'm just saying, it's possible. You might have picked up an extra pound or three, or perhaps you picked up a new eating habit you didn't have before, such as I'm bored, I got to eat. Um, Maybe some of those things might worry you in terms of your nutritional needs and maybe overloads. I'm not saying that's true, and I'm not saying that's you. So don't. I'm not pointing fingers. However, if it is, or maybe it's something that you know that it might be, this lady that we're going to talk to now is going to help us with that. I'm going to introduce you to Lynn Gale, a friend of mine. I'm going to bring her in from the green room right now, and there she is. Lynn, how are you?
Oh my gosh, Tom, I'm really great. Thank you.
Well, we are happy to have you here. Let me get your name up here as well, make us all official and stuff.
Oh, there I am. Perfect.
Yes. And while I'm editing and stuff, you guys all see the join the conversation. I think most of you who have been around for a while have watched this. You know what to do. So let's get rid of that so you can see some of my smiling mug as well. Lynn, how are you this evening?
I'm great. I'm a summer girl, so I am just living the dream right now. I can't wait for this weekend. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big plans?
No, actually, since I'm a summer girl, I love my backyard. I have it kind of staged for what I call my perfect surroundings, and I have a little baby pool, and I plan to be splashing around in it this weekend.
Very nice. Very nice. There's going to be some backyard activity at the Sellers Palace as well. Uh,
Excellent.
we've got a pool we bought for the well actually our my wife's mother and I and her got this for our granddaughter, and well, I'm not going to tell any stories. We kind of like it too. So we're going to be doing that, and I am going to be smoking a brisket and staying away from not only my phone but my computer all day.
Good. We need to be unplugged, and we'll talk about that.
Absolutely, we will. Absolutely, we will. So, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us where this working from home journey started with you, Ben.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I am not shy to tell you my age. I'm 52 years old, and I started out my career post college working in a corporation in a building. And since I am that summer girl, I really had a lot of trouble always being trapped inside and not being out in nature. And that's fine in the wintertime, but in the summertime, I just wanted to be out. So I was 30 when I found myself in a position where I could work from home. And I worked for a great company in the pharmaceutical arena. And I was able to work from home, but I spent a lot of time traveling. So
Okay.
home was home base, and I traveled a lot. And I was always thankful to come back to my space. So about, I'd say, a year and a half ago, that job ended, and there's nothing, time, one door shuts, the big garage door opens over here.
Sure.
And one of the big prerequisites for my next career, whatever that was going to be at the time, was I had to work from home because
Okay.
I wanted that flexibility to run my work and my life to my choosing. but really I didn't want to be trapped or feel like I was in that cage and I couldn't
Okay.
come out. So I can say that I have joyfully been work at home, my own office for about 22 years now, but it's
Look at
only
you.
been it's only been the last year and a half where this home space has become my only space. And
Okay.
that is different than the other job where basically I was darting back and forth to O'Hare International Airport and, Marriott was my second address. So this
Okay.
is now my full-time address.
Okay. So going back to that time that you spent a lot of time on the road,
Mm-hmm.
what changed? What was it that happened that you said, you know what, not doing this anymore. I've got another idea.
Well, I like to say it was my own idea, but my company was bought by a larger fish. The
Okay.
smaller fish got absorbed, and I was that cliche, the very successful salesperson who maybe made too much money and just didn't fit into the new corporation. So it also gave birth to this new incredible person that I am today. And even though it was difficult at the time, and Tom, you didn't know me during this time period, so I don't know if you would believe me when I say I had some dark days, but I sure did. And
We all have.
oh my gosh! And I emerged, and as you can tell, my favorite color is yellow because it just reflects my personality. And I have a lot of joy, and I have really fallen into quite an interesting encore career. I'm calling it.
Okay. So, and we're going to get to that because I know a bit about it, but
Mhm.
I want you to tell the story. But for those people that are listening right now, and many of them are probably just getting started in working from home. And I know when I went from a 30-year career to working at home, there were things I had to learn uh,
Mhm.
that weren't part of my normal life at that point. There were also some lessons that I had to get slapped upside the head with. True for you, or
It is. It's called being adaptable. It is not easy if you are a people person and crave energy around others, and all of a sudden now you're working by yourself. It's an adjustment. Um,
right?
and it took me the very first time I left. It took me about 6 months before I felt confident having lunch by myself,
Sure.
or I felt I didn't crave that constant reinforcement,
Hmm.
meaning, how does my hair look today? Or you like my new outfit? And all of a sudden I became this girl who just became laser focused on the work.
Okay.
Then that was a light bulb for me, is when I sat there and removed some of the things that weren't serving me and I took them out of the equation. I found out that I was a powerhouse. So, but those things don't happen overnight. They
Right.
take time, and we have to be a chameleon, and we have to adapt change. And
Hmm.
it's hard, but just give yourself grace. Nothing happens overnight. And probably another thing that I can say that really became difficult is when I had children at home when they were little. And
Sure.
I have a great story. So I'm working at home, and my office at the time was down in my basement. And my husband, a stay-at-home dad, and the kids snuck down, and both of them, when I was on a conference call, were banging their feet at the bottom of my door on the opposite side. Boom, 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 boom. And all I kept thinking is, holy cow, where's my husband? He didn't even know they had snuck down. So I actually got into my closet of my office, and I was on a headset, and I'm
Okay.
on the phone, and I'm trying to get as deep into the closet as I can to stop the noise. And at the time, I'm horrified. Oh my God, because you know what? Back 15, 16 years ago, the stay-at-home business or people wasn't as frequent. And
Right.
you had to really honor that. And if someone gave you free reign to work from home, you needed to act as though there were no distractions around you. So I'll never forget that story because obviously it was a very difficult time. But I would say when you go through these, just give yourself some grace. Just know that I think in the last few months, we've kind of all learned as we've been transitioned ourselves that it's okay to to have a breakdown. It's okay to kick your feet and act like a 3-year-old and have a temper tantrum. But in the end, we grow through what we go through.
Sure.
And everything, I just want to make sure I answer your question really well, is that what you may become on the other side of it could be an amazing facet of yourself that you never realized existed.
Sure. I know from my perspective, when I moved from having to be someplace at a specific time and certain duties I had to do while I was there for 30 years, and then starting out on my own, and believe me, I was more than a little motivated to do it.
Yeah.
But I had to learn how to plant myself at my desk and not get distracted by what was going on in the house. And
Right.
it's easy. It really sounds easy until you're doing it. It's like, well, I'm not on a clock. Nobody's watching me. Maybe I could go watch an extra 10 minutes of the news or whatever. And I think that's a trap a lot of people fall down and have to retrain their working brain to get over that.
Yeah, and those are all very true. And when you decide to stay at home, the best advice I can give anybody is to make sure you get out of bed and have the same routine. Every day during COVID, I took a shower, did my hair and my makeup, and I dressed up, even though I know I wasn't leaving the house. So it's important to keep those routines, to get up at the same time. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's that snooze button, right? It's so easy to ignore the snooze button when you're not really being tracked. So you have to set goals and guidelines for yourself. We call that a little bit of structural tension. And what that means basically is, okay, my alarm can go off at 6:30, but by 6:50, you better be out of that bed, woman. It's, and if you feel yourself struggling, one of the really great ways to do that is just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you get out of bed at the 1. Because if you sit there and say, okay, I'll 5 seconds, you will talk yourself out of it. So when you command yourself and you're not thinking about the wonderful warm bed or that you're sheltered and safe, you just say, okay, 1, I don't care what I'm saying, I'm getting out of that bed. But if there is transition, of course, and you have to set limits and guidelines. Now, the important thing to remember that is often overlooked is, what if it's 8 o'clock at night and you're supposed to be on me time or family time? I have found myself being distracted by work when I'm in my home time. So, I'm going to go check my emails. Oh my gosh. Back in the day, my fax machine would go off. Who's faxing me something? Or, I'm going to go do that real quick. So you also have to set limits. And we all know that this guy right here is one of the worst intrusions in our life. And we get checking disease and, oh my God, do I have it? We're doing this and we're not even noticing it. And it's becoming a routine, an unconscious routine that we also have to watch. So when you are deciding, or if you're in the thick of just starting to work from home, keep time blocks to say, I'm working from here to here. I take a break here. I'm working this time block. It is okay. I'm giving everyone permission to say, I'm going to take a 10-minute break and move the laundry, because that's how laundry gets done around here. Because when you get up, stretched, reaching, doing stuff, you're engaging your body and its cells and your heart rate. So it is not wrong to put in times for you to get active around your house. Just make sure it's task oriented. I'm going to go change the laundry. I'm going to help my husband bring in the groceries. I am going to vacuum this floor for 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. Just make it a hard start and stop.
Right. Want to say hi to Gary Hackney, who says, I have 2 cents. I know Gary, he's got a hell of a lot more than 2 cents. Good to see you, my friend.
Gary.
Yamil, he was with us last week. Yamil Betancourt. That is it's very challenging to maintain a tight schedule. Do not get distracted with things to surround you, especially the TV.
Mhm.
It takes a high level of discipline to focus on and prioritize your time in a business from home. And all of those statements are 100% true. Um, I'm fortunate on the getting up thing in the morning. I haven't used an alarm clock since I couldn't tell you when.
Mhm.
I get up between 4:30 and 5 virtually every day of the week, and that's just me. That's just who I am. But I'm also the guy in my house. The bed gets made every morning,
Mhm.
and I'll do it. That's just how I am. And then I'm going to get in the shower. But yeah, you got to have some things that you do not change no matter what's going on. And if that is part of your regular routine that takes you to work, which again, back in, when I was going to a job every day, it was the same thing. I got up, I had my coffee, I made my bed, I got in the shower, and that was what happened before I went to work. So nothing has changed except for my commute. Um, that is considerably shorter now. So let me ask you this. I know you are in a different type of business now,
Mhm.
and I know a bit about it, but I'd like you to talk about it because I kind of set this up with what's been going on with most of us the last few months, and I think it is a great segue to what it is you do that you can throw some pointers out to us.
Oh, yeah, I'd be happy to. So, in my corporate career of again living second address Marriott and being on airplanes, I also found myself up too late and up too early. And
Mm-hmm.
I had two little kids that maybe didn't sleep as well as they should in the beginning. And I stumbled into a soda addiction.
Okay.
If you're from the Midwest, I would say a pop addiction.
Right.
And
Right. I was going to say, what the heck is soda?
that's right. We still have that conversation here at
Yep.
home. What is it? So back real briefly in the 1980s, it became very inexpensive for companies to put high fructose corn syrup in soda and other things because it's a hell of a lot cheaper than this regular sugar.
Right.
So when they brought that out, keep in mind it's not sugar; it is it's modification of corn. So they're making it into something it was never intended to be. So they find out that they process corn, they get this really super sweet syrup, they put it into the soda. Everybody loves it. And then it comes out a year or two later or whatever that people can physically become addicted to high fructose corn syrup.
Yep.
I'm one of those people. And I knew the dangers. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you drink 2 sodas a day," and I was that girl who popped open one right after I brushed my teeth in the morning. It's
Well,
and I know it's disgusting. And I don't like coffee. And I know like I'm like the only 2 people on the planet don't like coffee, right?
I
So
was going to say, and we're friends. How did this even
I
happen?
don't know. And we meet in coffee houses, just go figure. So, but when your cells and your brain and stuff like that start to rely on a chemical,
Right.
I just want to say that my drug is cheap and legal. And you know what? There's a lot of truth to that because all of a sudden I found myself not being able to operate, in the way I wanted to unless I was popping a soda. And then it's 4:30. I'm in the car driving to the airport, popping a soda. And so my life became very intertwined with this chemical that I became addicted to and carried, about 300 to 400 calories a day worth. So over that time, I gained over 50 pounds, was carrying that weight all over the place. I'm 5'7", and I know you're not supposed to say your weight, but that's my biz. And I'm 5'7", and I was almost 190 pounds. Before you could take a pin and pin my skin, and I felt like all this gas would have come out because when you are putting things in your body that have no place to be there, sometimes, many times, often, your body will go into an inflammatory state. And when it does that, it just drags your butt down because your immune system is fighting and fighting to clean all the cells. But if there's water and toxins trapped in your body, it can't do that efficiently. And
Right.
we hear people talk about cleanses and stuff like that. That's what's really getting to the heart of the matter there. So the part of my story here is when my job was ending, like many people who are in their 50s and find themselves all of a sudden out of a job due to corporate buyouts or whatever, I thought, oh my God, I gotta have to interview for my own job.
Right.
And that gave me the motivation. That absolutely, when you start looking at somebody yanking your income away from you,
Mhm.
I was working 60 hours a week and I loved it and I dove into it and I got scared. So fear's a very, very big motivator.
Right.
So I got scared, and at the end of July 2018, I said, oh my gosh, I have got to lose this weight. I got to get my act together because mentally and physically I was ill. And those were my dark, dark days. So I found this really amazing program through my sister-in-law, and I lost 35 pounds in 14 weeks.
Okay.
And that to me was not only an accomplishment of the highest sorts, but the bigger accomplishment is now 18 months later, I can still claim the same thing. Because when you become educated in how your body works,
Right.
education spurs knowledge, knowledge changes choice, and choice becomes habit.
Mhm.
So my job now, and then, so what I did really is in November of 2018, I saw how amazing this company was that helped me lose this 35 pounds safely, effectively. They are a company that just will love on you and support you because it's hard to do this alone. And if you could
Right.
do it alone, you would have done it already, right?
Sure.
So I leaned on a health coach that was provided to me by the company free of charge. And I did their food program, and the food program allowed me to take out of the equation my cravings, my desires. I did not have to think or meal plan except for one meal a day. So when I saw this, I was like, holy cow, this is revolutionary. Never knew about it. And now look at me, I look dynamite. So it gave me a lot of confidence too. And I can tell you, it's not about what we lose, meaning the weight, it's about everything that we gain. So I became a health coach for this company. Now I coach other people on how to do it. And
Okay.
it's easy and it's an efficient way to do it. It's not expensive at all. And just knowing that your whole life can change with one simple word, and that is yes. If you can say yes to your health, you never know what might come on the other end of that. It might be everything you wished for or prayed for.
Absolutely. And I want to say hi to Robbie Robinson. Robbie is one of my co-hosts on another show that I do called Not Done Yet. Robbie, it's good to have you here. Um, and I know a bit about your program from personal experience in my house. You and I have had that conversation before. Um, and I was able to see firsthand how my wife went through it and the success that she had, and she's still doing absolutely incredible with it. Um, and it was, I've always said, and I say this about my business and everybody else's. When Rachel came to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this," this was not something I ever told her. Hey, you need to lose weight. That's not how I operate. And I also knew that if I did say it, it would not do anything except for raise an issue. So my point in saying all that is people are unlikely to do the things that they feel that they probably should until they're ready to do it. So I'm going to go on a limb here. Again, I've heard your story before. I'm going to go on a limb here and say you reached that point.
Oh,
You were motivated when you jumped into this.
yeah, I did. And that was the end of July of 2018. I just came back from the Smoky Mountains on vacation. And I spent that entire vacation partying, eating out, eating the dessert, the appetizer, the bread, the high fructose served salad dressings.
Sure.
We'd then go back to the house and we'd have more drinks in a hot tub. So in the end, when I got back, oh my gosh, the acid reflux I had coming up was
Right.
absolutely horrific. And I was on an RX medication.
Sure.
And one of the biggest, we call some of the things that we discover about ourselves as the non-scale victories. So at the end of July, when this was coming up and I was like throwing up all this like sourness, I was
Right.
like, holy cow, that was the physical problem. The mental problem was, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job, right? So what I didn't know, and this is really, really huge, and I just wanted to, just a different segue of it, is when at beginning of that year or that month of July of 2018, my kids and husband have been bugging me to go get my hearing tested because I was always, what? What did you say? And I'm like, and then and I'm in sales, right? So I'd be looking at my clients doing this or like this, trying to funnel the sound. And it was really getting frustrating, but I was adapting. I was learning to kind of read lips along with it. But finally I went and I'm like, you know what? Maybe my hearing is going. I don't know. I just turned 50, so everything's falling apart, that type of stuff. And so I went and I was borderline hearing aids, and they told me to recheck in a year. And I thought, well, what else is going to go wrong, right? I need glasses now. Now I can't hear. What's next? That type of thing. So I kind of blew it off and I said, okay, we'll recheck next year. But I was still reading lips and doing this. And then it was about 4 months later, after I had lost the weight, totally forgot about my hearing, all this type of stuff. And my husband came up to me and said, oh my God, Lynn, you don't even know this. I'm like, what? He goes, you can hear again. And it just about knocked me off my chair. So sure. By losing all of that weight and losing all that inflammation, I actually allowed my ear canal, my eardrum, to receive in the sound. And before, my ears were so plugged up with inflammation and earwax, which was causing power, I couldn't hear. Now, my hearing isn't 100%, but it's got to be 90% now. And I never went back for another hearing test.
Very cool. Very cool. So Yamil says, Lynn, thank you for sharing these very personal experiences. It's encouraging to know it also paints a very clear picture that working from home is serious business. Mm-hmm. We really appreciate your transparency. And I agree with them. One of the reasons that I and Frank started doing this closing in on a year ago now was because we understand that running a business is difficult by itself. Mm-hmm. Running a business from home, especially if you come from a world that you had to be somewhere at a certain time, day in and day out, that kind of adds to it. So having this forum to talk from every week and bringing in people like yourself, Lynn, to say and give another aspect that maybe we hadn't talked about or even considered yet means immense things to our audience. Mm-hmm. So I got another question for you. Then I'm going to go to a commercial break. Now, let me explain this commercial break, folks. Like I said earlier, I realize there is an echo in here some kind of way, probably a ghost in the machine. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and read the commercial, and I'll throw the graphic up, and we'll take it that way for this week. And next week, hopefully, I figure out what the problem is. So that being said, Lynn, these past few months, let's delve into those. And I'm sure you see people all the time that are telling you, I don't know what it is. I'm not even hungry, and I'm eating junk. I don't know how, but in the last 3 months, I picked up 10 pounds. I don't know how, but I wake up starving, and I don't know how, but I go to bed and have something to eat. So address some of that stuff for me.
Oh my gosh, I would love to. So when COVID came about into our lives, do know that it took us out of our normal routine. So whenever you're thrown out of a normal routine, it adds stress. Right. And then stress will either cause you to overeat, maybe it will cause you not to eat. There's some of those people out there too. Or it will cause you to do whatever you need to do. And when you are working from home, the biggest enemy to you is stress and carbs. So carbs are very addicted to your body. Your body loves them. And if all of a sudden you're now home, working from home, maybe you're not used to working from home, or maybe you took this time during COVID to say, oh my gosh, you know what? I have all this extra time. Maybe I'll start a home business. Whatever it is, that's stressful. And when you don't have accountability from your coworkers or from accountability partners or a set lunchtime, then all of a sudden you find yourself, well, I'm going to eat this because nobody knows I'm eating this. Maybe they'll run out to McDonald's and have a Big Mac instead of a quarter pounder because nobody can see them. Another aspect that came out, and this is not everyone, but all of a sudden, people are missing people. And next thing you know, there's Zoom parties going on. I was part of many of them. And it was important for continuity and to see people face to face, eye to eye. Very important. And so it'd be cocktail hour. Is it wine o'clock? It's Tuesday. It's 5:05. I don't have to drive anywhere. Let's start drinking and let me get Susie and Bob on the phone, and we're going to have fun. So the important thing to know is that a standard glass of wine, it could be almost 200 calories. And if you're introducing something that is not normal to your system, it will like it, especially if it's a carb. And then it will say, hey, wait a second. Yesterday you had that great carb. I want that carb again today. And
I want more of it.
And what?
And I want more of it.
Yes, yes. So you crave generally the things that you eat last. I cannot believe that I would say that I actually crave salad. I am not a vegetable eater, but that's the most recent thing I ate. And when I'm hungry, I say, "Ooh, salad!" You know, exciting. But when we're home and we let our guard down, next thing you know, you can get a carb addiction pretty quick. And carbs come in many different forms. And the safest way to control your carb intake is to focus on protein and low carb foods. Fruit, vegetables, all have carbs. We need carbs. Never cut all the carbs out of your life because we need it in our brain for daily function. But the things to avoid are anything you can buy in the middle of the store. Keep to the outside of the store when you buy Whole Foods. And know that even though orange juice might be on the wall, that is probably one of the worst things we can consume because we think we're being healthy and we think more is better. Well, in the end, more is not better.
No, and if you're going to drink orange juice like that, at least do yourself the favor of putting vodka in it.
Exactly. Double. Would slow down the carb upload. You never know.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
And
all right.
Real quick too, the reason why you crave carbs in the morning is because you have set your insulin levels so high that you probably didn't sleep very well. You wake up tired and you have a carb craving because you've overcarbed yourself.
Right. Right. All right. We are going to go to a quick commercial. We will be right back with Lynn Gale. Stay with us. And we are back. All right, Lynn, we didn't lose you, did we?
No, I'm right here.
Very good. All right, so getting back to where we were on that, what kind of, I know what we shouldn't do. You kind of told us what we shouldn't do. What should we do? So let's say that I'm walking by the refrigerator and it's 11 o'clock and I've already had breakfast and I just went upstairs to talk or do something before I come back down to my office. And as I walk down the office, I have to go by the refrigerator. How do I avoid that big machine?
Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. So most of our day, we are living in unconscious habits. And it is a habit to walk to the refrigerator for food because we all need to eat. We need to eat at least 3 times a day. And if you have a trigger in your life, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it must be time to eat. Because eating increases dopamine, which can counterbalance cortisol. And we think that, oh, we're going to solve whatever our need is, and we're going to go get that piece of food. So
Gotcha.
what I have been taught, and the strategy that has changed my life, is something founded by Dr. Wayne Anderson, and it's called Stop, Challenge, Choose. So when you are about your day, especially when you're in the danger zones, let's say in the grocery store, in your kitchen, out to eat, set intention. So have a little talk with yourself before this all happens and say, okay, I'm conscious. I'm not going to like fall into this habit. And if you find yourself walking to the refrigerator or the pantry, stop and then say, oh my God, challenge yourself. Why am I even here? Am I hungry? Well, kind of, but really no. Are you stressed? Yes. What are you looking for? I'm looking for that carb. But carbs don't live here anymore because I already cleaned it all out. But that doesn't keep my unconscious brain still searching for the carb in a cabinet that no longer exists. And it hasn't been there for a year and a half. And a funny story is, stop, challenge. I went back and forth with my challenge, and I found a dried up stale Cheez-It in the back of the cabinet. And I looked at that Cheez-It and I said, oh, I really want this, but am I willing to eat it even though it's stale and gross? Obviously, I didn't eat it because, I'm not two, but I challenged myself in the face of my enemy and I threw it away. So I chose not to eat it. So stop yourself, challenge. It is the angel, the devil on the shoulder a little bit, and then toss it. So when you find yourself in those occasions, to say, am I hungry? Is it time for a meal? If it is not, get out of there fast. If you're there and you say, is it time for meal prep? Only have ingredients in front of you. Never have processed food, because that just is an unconscious habit. So when you're approaching your fridge or something, really try to make sure it's a whole food and not processed, where you can then instantly indulge in a yogurt or something like that. Yogurt is mostly sugar, by the way. So just be cautious of that unless you buy a low carb yogurt. But here's the trick. If you do stop, challenge, and choose, and you choose to say no to the item, know that you will win 95% of the time. And that could equate to 10 to 20,000 calories a year. So when you can say no 95% of the time, you are the winner. If you say yes 5% of the time to whatever it is you're going to eat, that's fine. It's a treat. Just think, you know what? There's been plenty of times I myself had sit there and said, there's no way I'm not going to have that glass of wine because it's rough week and just, get out of my way. So sure, that's fine too, because it's not every day. But when you have that wine or that treat, you have stopped, challenge, and choose, so you will not have shame or blame after the fact. And I caught myself, and it's 4 months ago, I just want a little ice cream. So I brought out the container, and then right in front of me was a couple of catalogs. And I was like, oh, what's coming out for spring? And I'm looking, and I didn't even realize it, but I kept eating the ice cream as I'm flipping the pages. And when I stopped, I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't believe that I had fallen into that trap. So it does happen, but if we can approach anything that has to do with calories, or anything that's not good for us, like Netflix that we watch into the night, you have to challenge yourself, and most of the time your conscious brain will stop you.
Okay. So I'm going to switch gears on you just a little bit.
All right, bring it.
I know that there is an element of income. That's why you're here.
Yep.
You make money from this. And obviously and those that know you and those that are listening to you right now, know your stuff. I would not be surprised, and I encourage people that are watching this, if you have some concerns about healthy eating, or maybe you need to get involved with a program to lose a pound or 5, Lynn's information is on the crawler. Please get her number, give her a call. She is very good at what she does. But back to my question, Lynn. So you found through this program a way to earn an income.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second, because many of the people who are on here, some of them have their own income they're making from home, and some are looking. So let's give them something else to look at.
Great. So, yes, I do make an income from this. I am a full-time health coach. A lot of times people will come in part-time as well. As a matter of fact, the company that I represent, 90% of our health coaches are actually part-time. Some of it is just extra income. Some of it is a plan B. And sometimes people just want to be around people who are happy. And
Sure.
we can offer you, if you dream it, we can offer it to you. It does take hard work. It takes goal setting. But really the sky is the limit.
Wait,
So,
wait, 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 wait.
okay. Okay.
You're going to sit there and tell me that I have to work hard?
It's
This is not just a
true.
magic, this is not just a magic bullet. I sign up and I get rich.
No.
All right, good thing, because none of the stuff we talk about is. Please keep going.
Oh, yes. And here I thought I said something wrong or something. You scared me. So, no. So if it seems easy, run. If someone says, "Oh, this is easy," run at the other direction because you're just
Yep.
wasting time. So I have this incredible work ethic that came through my DNA, and I'm in it to win it. I don't do anything half ASSED. So
No, half-assed is the word you're looking for. That's okay.
yeah,
It's our show.
yeah, half but yes, so here it is follow your passion. This is my passion because I didn't even, you know what's really ridiculous, and I'm going to answer your question, but 10, 15 years ago, if you told me that my encore career was going to be a health coach, I would have laughed my butt off. And I'm like, I'm a sugar addict. There's no way I'm giving it up. And I knew the health dangers. I luckily have not had a health event, no heart attacks or strokes, but man, I was on my way to doing that. So this became my passion because I think it saved my life. So when, again, at the end of July 2014, during this profound time in my life, I think I was heading straight for a heart attack. And that was another reason that I really had to buckle down and get better. When you start having panic attacks, it's not good.
Right.
It's not really good for your health. And there's underlying reasons for that. Sometimes I feel like the hand of God came and smacked me in the back of the head. So it is truly a passion of mine. So if you're not working in your passion, just start examining what you're doing and who you're working for. So if you are working for yourself and it's not your passion, you might have grown out of that. Or if you're working for somebody else and growing their business, if it's not your passion, then maybe you should consider, and I'm not asking anyone to quit their job, maybe you should consider what you're doing in your free time that maybe you can make an income from. So talking about income, so the last 3-4 months have taught many Americans an important facet, and that
I
is,
sure hope so.
I think there could be an encyclopedia written on the things that we've all learned as human beings in humankind. What I really want to show you is that as we all know, but this has really come to the forefront, is we cannot rely on what is known today. Today, like 2 years ago, I was an amazing executive at a corporation and sales director. Today, I'm a health coach. My incomes are very different today, but I'm alive and I'm healthy, and I was near death and not healthy. But yes, I'm doing this out of sheer love, but thank goodness they pay us very well. So
Okay.
I want people to know that if you desire, like if you have a similar passion or a desire, I think it's important that you just open your eyes and say, what if, what if, what if? And I'm going to steal this from a movie, but the word what and if as two different words are non-threatening. What if you put them together? What if dot, dot, dot becomes threatening. And I went through my own, what if I did this? So it took me a while to come to this statement when I go to my husband, because I'm the sole wage earner in the home. My husband raised our kids and we have a farm and all these other things going on. But I said, what if I decided to become a certified health coach full time? And those were scary words to say, but I took that leap of faith. And guess what? If I crashed and burned, so what? So
Right.
what? So what? What if I did this? What if I was successful? What if instead of falling, I flew?
Mm-hmm.
What if? So if I can say anything to anybody is dream big, set intentions, have a positive attitude, and look at what may be at the end of your prayers. And I'm a faithful person, so I would say, oh my gosh, God, help me. I need a new career. I need new health. I need guidance. I need a light. And I was taken along on this journey. And all of a sudden, now as I look back, if I could tell you that 15 out of my 17 prayers have been answered, they certainly have. And my life is richer for it. So take that jump, but only jump, and think about working from home if you feel that this will work towards a goal that you have set. And some people have goals to get out of a current working situation and don't know where to go. There's a lot of home-based businesses that are absolutely dynamite. And I know a lot of Mary Kay's, Arbonne's, Tastefully Simple, all of those organizations are an A plus. So if you have a passion around that, don't ignore it. Or if you want to be your own architect and have your own business and work from your home, do it. Life is short, as we know.
Right. And I would agree with you, especially over the last, several months with this COVID lockdown is what I call it.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things that is a recurring theme when I talk to people, whether it be on a call or even on a podcast, is the question I pose to people is this: we've had a lot of time. For a good many of us who have regular, hourly jobs, salary jobs, whatever. We don't have them anymore, or we have far less of them than what we did. Bottom line is, these last few months have given us a ton of spare time. And the question I pose is, what are we doing with it?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of ways to waste it. No, you don't even have to think about it. However, if you've ever asked yourself the question, what if? And if what if to you is, what if I took that new knowledge and learned how to monetize it? What if I learned a new skill that is not part of my regular job? Could I make money from it? And if I do it enough times, if I learn it well enough, can I come off of that position that maybe I don't love anymore? Bottom
Mm-hmm.
line is, you have the time to do those things. And if you are squandering the time, and there's no other way of putting it, uh, with Netflix or pick your vice, it really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not spending some time learning a new skill that is marketable, just if for no other reason, it's something you wanted to do. Maybe you want to learn how to play a musical instrument. It's always something you want to do. Will you make money off it? More than likely not. But you're not watching Netflix. You're applying yourself. You're learning something new. Maybe you want a different job skill that you didn't have before. Are there places you can go to get those? I know a guy.
Mm-hmm.
We can teach you. We can teach you how to monetize things. We can help you improve. So that's my Tom rant of the podcast, and again, my show. I get to do it. So, Lynn, let me ask you this, and again, I know you and I have had very good conversations over the past couple of months. What would you advise somebody? And I know what my advice would be to somebody looking at what you do, but tell me yours.
What would be my advice for
To somebody who has some interest in being a health coach.
for sure. If my advice is just to call me, and I would give it to anybody straight. But my advice is don't talk yourself out of it. So when throughout my entire life, see, now that I'm a health coach, I have access to these great trainings, and I can tell you that we should all be arrested for the number of negative things we tell ourselves about ourselves. Oh, you're not worthy. Oh my gosh, that would be dumb. Are you dumb? Those are the things that we say. Oh my gosh, I look fat today. Oh my God. you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, we can come up with thousands of things and lies that we tell ourselves. It scares the crap out of us. And we're not going to go and take that leap of faith. So don't, if you're sitting here saying, oh, maybe I want to be a health coach, call me. Don't stop. Don't question it. I would love to have conversations with people to say, well, let me ask you this. Where do your thoughts lie on here or here or here? We're taught to discount no one because we wear a veneer. Right now, you know, I look happy. I'm thrilled to be here. I love sharing this information, but we all carry burden. You know, we all have what we hide from people because nobody wants to go and say, okay, these are my 12 things that are wrong with me today or that happened to me today. So we put a veneer on, and I want you to know that we're not perfect. I'm nowhere near perfect. I still find myself falling into traps again and again and again. And if you're interested in reclaiming your health or teaching other people to do it, you don't have to lose a pound. We accept everybody. And it's really under 3 sections that people come to us. It's healthy body, which is weight loss, nutrition, healthy mind, which is teaching ourselves to speak kindly of ourselves and to nurture ourselves and to grow ourselves, or an area that we call healthy finances. And the reason we picked healthy finances is a very important reason, because money will either drive you crazy because you don't have it or because you do have it. And when we talk about healthy finances, regardless of where we are, money will affect your mental and physical health. So if we can offer some insights, some strategies, nothing to do with money management, nothing like that, but it's more of the mental strategies about how money affects our health. And the other reason we say that healthy finances is there's plenty of people out there that just need $400 a month to make a car payment, or their kids are getting ready to go to college in 2 years and they don't have enough. So healthy finances could be very much, I need a couple $100 and I can do that easily. Or it could be, hey, Lynn, I'm looking for a new career. And oh, by the way, Lynn, I have very special talents and I'm going to knock this out of the park. So we have it for everybody.
Sure. I want to say hi to Ed Heinrich. Ed is also an alumni. He was on this show about a month or so ago with Always Available Maintenance. Good to see you, Ed, as always. We've got, believe it or not, we have almost shot an hour already. That's just how fast this goes. I have 2 closing questions for you. If we can get through those before they tell us we got to get the heck out of here. The first one is, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, which is what you are, what mentors, what people, what books do you follow to keep your head in the game?
Oh my gosh, I love that question. So I have a ton of books, and I hope I get to read them all in my lifetime. I am a book junkie. I love to be educated. I do have some books here, just real quick, that have changed my life. The first one, The Secret, came out 12, 13 years ago. It changed my life. Remember, when I read this, it was 07, 08, when everybody was going through this financial crisis. This book came into my hands. It changed my life. This book came into my life too, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. He's highlighted in this book. Right. And this is The Secret on steroids, basically. Right. But when I came to be a health coach, the company I represent feeds leadership into me. And this book just came into my hands about 8 months ago. And it's the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. This one really, it brings through the thinking of above the line and below the line. Okay. We bounce on every thought above or below. We're always back and forth. If we can train our brain to be above the line and always think creatively and positively, then we will be a better, effective leader. So these are things, these books are meant to be read slowly and applied. They're meant to sit on your shelf for 5 years and then come right back into your life with a different lens. These are the 3 that I love. There's a couple other like online mentors. Gee, Tom, you're my mentor too. You
Oh, stop.
know you are. You know
And
it.
I'm not going to tell you that doesn't get you points because it does. But no, please go ahead.
No, no, no. I was going to say I look to my elders. No, just kidding. No, no, no.
I can't argue that. I
I
can't
know.
argue it. I'm older than you.
And much, much wiser. But no, at the end,
Don't buy into that.
pick your mentors wisely. And
Right. There you go.
there's a lot of them out there, that's for sure. And if something's not working for you, find somebody new that's going to help you grow.
Okay. Who is it? Who do you follow? I've got a few that I follow.
Oh, well, besides Jack Canfield, who I have a secret crush on, let's
Okay.
see, Brendan Bouchard, I love him. He's very energetic. If I'm ever having a down day, like in Chicagoland in January because it's like 2 degrees, he gets me pumped up. That is for sure. I also am in love with a person named Dave Blanchard. He might be relatively unknown to the world, but he's very well known in our circle. And he's an excellent motivator, and he just brings our fears down to the most basic level, and says, "Well, why aren't you doing this?" And then we'll explain it, and we dodge it. And he goes, "Lynn, it's this simple." And he'll explain it, and you come out of there, and you're like, "Whoa, that was a mind blow." So those are some of the people I rely on, but they change all the time.
Very cool. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm kind of go to the classics, guys that I've been following for probably 30 years. But every once in a while, I'll see something. I'm like, wait, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
It's always good it's always good, in my opinion, while I'm having that cup of coffee. I'm going to put something on like that. I'm going to put on a YouTube video. I'm going to put on a training video for the work that I do, so that I get that mind going in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely. And your partner in crime too, Frank, gave me the Jim Rohn book. He's a class.
Jim Rohn is probably my favorite. Yep.
Yep. All of those guys you can't go wrong with.
So again, here we mowed through an hour in no time. I want to thank you, Lynn, for being with us. It's been a great show, great information. I can tell by the comments and the number of reactions here. People have loved listening to you.
Oh, thank you.
And I would like to invite you back another time. I don't know when, but I'll have my people get with your people, and if we can't get that on the schedule.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you.
You bet. And tell us again. I know I have it on a crawler, but sometimes people would just like to hear it better. How can people get a hold of you to either A, help them get healthier, or B, help them make a little bit of money from home?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Lynn Gale, Gale. My name is Lynn Itzstein Gale. That's just my main name, but I go by Lynn Gale. And my number is 224-301-5606. And my email address is lynngale467 You can also find me at Facebook under Lynn Itzstein Gale.
Okay. Any questions that you have before we close this down?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing after?
Believe it or not, I have a sales call to get on in 15 minutes.
Oh, see, that's the way we roll. Sometimes you do have to be open 24/7.
Right. And normally I don't. This is, but I am a guy who will make an exception for somebody who says, hey, I don't even get home till 7.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And being an entrepreneur means being there for your clients. But what it also means is that at 10 a.m., maybe you go take a nice walk and, get some, nice exercise in. We're on our own clock.
It has been known to happen more than once. Well, Lynn, again, I thank you so much for being with us. My audience has been more than receptive. Folks, if you're out there and you're listening, if you want to drop a pound or two, if you want to look at another way that you can make money from home besides the ones that we show you every week, please give my friend Lynn a call. She'll take very good care of you. And until next week, this is Tom from Our 2 Cents. I never did. Some days. Frank was not able to be with us this evening like he normally is. He had some business he had to take care of. He will be rejoining us next week, and we will see you then. So for our 2 cents, I'm Tom Sellers with my perfect guest, Lynn Gale. We are our 2 cents, and we thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye, everybody.